Good afternoon, councillors. Welcome along. Members of the public, welcome. Officers, I declare this meeting open. Under announcements, councillors, last Friday morning, the CEO and I, along with Shire presidents and CEOs of our adjoining local governments, met with the Federal Minister for Local Government, Senator Nash. She's Minister for Local Government, Regional Development and Communications. The CEO and I have also had some very early discussions on affordable housing options for the city with Regional Development Australia, the Timber Forest Association and Landcorp. Very early discussions about that. Fair bit to do yet. We also have received certificates of appreciation from a number of organisations we've assisted last year in front of me here, and my expenses for the month were $65.12 for fuel. Councillor Warnock is on leave of absence until tomorrow. Declarations of interest. I've declared an impartiality interest with respect to 10.46. Councillor Jones declares impartiality interest with respect to items 10.11, 10.43 and 10.44. Councillor Steck declares an impartiality interest with respect to item 10.41. She also declares a financial interest with respect to item 10.42 and a financial interest with respect to 10.44. Are there any further declarations of interest, councillors? Thank you. We have no public questions. Someone prepared to move the confirmation of the previous minutes. Thank you, Councillor Cook. Councillor Hayward, all in favour? That's carried unanimously, thank you. 7.12, those three committees be received. Someone move that. Councillor Jones, Councillor McCleary, all in favour? That's carried unanimously, thank you. Are there any petitions, councillors? We have received requests to present to us tonight. Mr. Tomlinson on item 10.12. Those who support that, please indicate. That's approved. And Mrs. Yvonne Scott wishes to speak to item 10.43. Those who approve, please indicate. That's approved. So, councillors, coming out, 10.11, 10.12, 10.22, 10.25, 10.31, 10.41, 10.42, 10.43, 10.44, 10.46, 10.51. Are there any other items which councillors wish to raise? Councillor Steck.
Thank you, sir. 10.21 and also 10.32.
$10.22 is coming out anyway. Was there another one you had, Councillor Steck? 10.21.
10.21, sir, yeah. And 10.32.
32. Anyone else? Someone prepared to move the balance. Thanks, Councillor Cook. Councillor Jones, all in favour? That's carried, thank you. 10.11. This requires an absolute majority. Someone are prepared to move that.
Move,
Councillor Steck, seconder. Councillor McCleary, all in favour? It's carried by unanimously, thank you. 10.12. Mr. Tomlinson. Welcome, Alex. You have 5 minutes, Alex.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and councillors. My name is Alex Tomlinson. I'm a member of the Bunbury Advisory Council. In terms of the Act, as described by the committee's terms of reference, is to identify and advise on youth trends, gaps and opportunities in the Bunbury area. Currently, the acquisition of adjustments with the way that the grants better achieve this purpose, changes recommended to Council today, and steps to achieving our goals. Firstly, we believe that by adjusting the formal meeting frequency from 1 quarterly, we will open up the opportunity to have more meetings in a formal setting. These informal meetings provide an opportunity for productive discussion and collaboration. We feel that a key issue and gap that we're working to address is the presence of visibility in the Bunbury community. This can be improved through meetings and workshops where we seek youth opinion and engagement on issues and settings which appeal to them. The other change that we have recommended to Council is that the councils are no longer appointing members of the committee. We believe that Councillors McCleary, Councillor McGuinness and Councillor Morris play a very important role for the Act in advising us on the way that our meetings are run and our decisions. However, these councils are not members of the youth committee, so we feel that while we still have valuable insight on these issues, it's more appropriate for them to be advising and coaching the community. By no longer having the councils as voting members, we also relieve them of the extra responsibility of contributing to our meeting quorum. The Act understands that councillors already have many commitments through their work in the City of Bunbury, and on occasions these commitments mean that some councillors cannot make our meetings, which can facilitate achieving the quorum. We really do appreciate and value the contribution of the councillors to the Act, and we certainly wish that we could keep involved in the future. We feel that the role they play at the Act should be adjusted to ensure that contribution fits this responsibility.
Well done, Alex. Councillors, we have committee recommendation and an executive recommendation. They are basically the same. The executive recommendation is just a little bit more formalised. Is someone prepared to move the executive recommendation? Councillor McGuinness, Councillor McCleary. Is there likely to be any debate?
Mr Mayor, I note that the executive recommendation has changed since the printed one.
Yep.
Can we have a look at the committee recommendation as well? Has that changed?
No. Same result, Councillor Cook. We all happy? I'll put it all in favour. Those against? 2. That's carried unanimously. Carried VAR 2, I beg your pardon, so carried by an absolute majority. Thank you very much. 10 to 1, we'll just get there. Someone prepared to move the executive recommendation on 10 to 1. Thank you, Councillor Kelly. Councillor McCleary, second it. Councillor Kelly. Councillor McCleary. Speaker against. Councillor Steck.
Thank you, sir. For the life of me, I don't understand why the City of Bunbury would go down the path of spending an exceptionally amount of $20,000 for an insurance, want for a better word, quote, when indeed we haven't even looked locally. And to go down the path of one size fits all because all the other regional councils are doing that, well, I'm sorry, but we are very different from Derby, very different from Broome, very different from Exmouth, very different than Kalgoorlie, and very different from Albany, and even Busselton, even though they're not far away. The reality is that it's a waste of money to think for one moment that we're going to get any benefit out of jumping into one band and one size fits all. I have seldom seen that in any small business or big business. And if they did, why aren't they all creating a conglomerate to make them in a better position? Because the answer is there's no such thing. It's about negotiation and negotiation tactics, about risks, and I already know that even local government itself looks at the risk amongst all local governments. This is going down the wrong path, councillors, and I urge you not to support this motion. You are wasting ratepayers' money.
Speaker 4, Councillor Kelly to close.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Firstly, I'll say that the reality here is competition And what we want to do is get some competition into this insurance business. We're paying well over $1.2 million per annum, and if we can spend, or if we can invest $8,000 a year over 3 years to save perhaps up to 20-25% of that, a couple of $100,000 a year, I think that's a good investment. It is a modest output for what could be a significant income, and it is worth having a go. I think LGIS have had a bit of a monopoly on this for some years, so let's go test the market, let's go and get some competition. Urge councillors to support this resolution.
Thank you. I'll put it all in favour, please indicate. Those against? One against. That's Councillor Steck. That's carried. 10.2.2, we require an absolute majority here. Councillors, I'm prepared to move the executive recommendation. Councillor Jones, Councillor Giles. Is there likely to be any debate? I'll put it all in favour. That's carried unanimously. Ten to 5. Someone prepared to move the executive recommendation. Councillor McCleary. Seconder. Councillor Giles. Sorry? You don't wish to speak? Councillor McGuinness, did you want my attention?
Yes, if I may, could I ask that we actually defer this for one round?
For what reason?
Look, I've had a chat with Councillor Warnock, who can't be with us today, and I feel like that it would be great to defer it for one round of council so that we can have a better look at it. I think it's great that we're doing good work in this space in terms of marketing communications, looking at ways of digital in the digital space, but I feel like there could be some further tweaking and adjustments to it, and as Councillor Warnock, myself and others may wish to pass comment.
Okay, I'll see if there's a second if you're Councillor Hayward. So, councillors, the motion is to defer for one round, for reasons being to give elected members the opportunity of further scrutinising or adding value to this. I'll put that all in favour, please indicate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll use my casting vote and go with the deferral for one round. Ten 3.1 is the next. Requires an absolute majority. Someone prepared to move. Councillor Kelly, seconder. Councillor Hayward. All in favour? Those against? That's carried unanimously. Ten 3.2. Someone move the executive recommendation. Councillor McGuinness. Is there a seconder? Councillor McGuell. Councillor McGuinness.
Thank you, Mr Mayor and Councillors. Look, I fully support this application for funding. We've put the challenge out to the community for them to bring bold and exciting ideas to us as a council that will benefit our community, and that we would then support them, enable and get out of the way, and I believe that this is one such proposal. Through the development of the criteria utilised through the Sports Marketing Australia, which we've all looked at and talked about in some depth, our officers have used those criteria and recommended this event under those criteria. There's been a robust process in this event coming through the Bunbury Events Advisory Group, ongoing discussions with our council staff, and a huge amount of work undertaken by the event organisers. We've been working strategically to find events that meet our criteria as a city, that bring tourism, that bring excellent media coverage, that support our CBD and work in partnership with other organisations, and in this case, WA Athletics and others. And also, I think they spell out really well that the calibre of athletes in Australia to compete at that time. I believe the funding that is in question needs to be utilised. It's there in this year's budget. And I believe we're not saying this is the only iconic event. This will be the first year with great opportunity to grow in future years. And I guess also the request has an insurance policy that if the organisers don't find matching funding, then the event will not go ahead, which I think is also excellent. So I congratulate the team on the proposal, and I urge everyone to support it as it stands, please.
Thank you, Councillor McGuire. Do you wish to speak? Speaker against, Councillor Steck.
Thank you, sir. Before I begin, can I just clarify one point? What is the funding application or money that we've put aside for the next 3 years for the Sports Marketing Australia?
CEO.
Sorry, Mr. Ransom might be able to...
Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, 100,000.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, given that the answer has been provided, that we're already spending $100,000 for the next 3 years, and through my own learned friend, Councillor McGuinness, through you, Mr. Mayor, that has said that this came up through the ranks of the Marketing Committee or the Events Committee and the Sports Committee, which really is astounding because we've only really just adopted that policy. So my point is simply this. $100,000 over the next 3 years, plus they want $60,000 this year and a guarantee for the next 3 years as well. That's an awful lot of money for an iconic event that is not so iconic because it hasn't occurred yet. And they haven't even got the funding yet, they haven't even got the funding for the other councils yet. It's all a big what if. And if you look at the detail on the business plan is very lightweight, and I'm not criticising who put it together. I'm simply saying that I can read through that and see it for what it is. I can also say that where it says one line that volunteers or people that help can have a level 4 certificate for any kind of education. Well, I'm sorry, there's no guarantee on that either. That's just a what if. The other thing I will say is simply this, is that the term iconic to me is iconic like the Cricket Boys shootout. They come to this council every single year and ask for Zippo. I think last year was the first time they asked for some cash. But they've been going for a very, very long time. And they put every soul and effort into this community. And it's well attended, and the business get behind it, and that's grassroots events. Grassroots events. No different than the Dardanup Bull and Barrel Festival. And so when council gets involved of funding grassroots events, it always costs more than what we gain. Groove in the Moo is another example of us spending nearly $100 grand a year for 3 years bringing that music festival to council. I'm not saying that there's no benefit to the council or to the community. I'm saying please don't label it as iconic when it's in its infancy in its first year. Iconic is earned by respect by the community. It's earned by patronage over a period of time. It's earned by respect to people giving their time to that event. That's one thing I'll say. The other thing I'll say is that I had a young boy here a few years ago asking for a skate park. His name was Kobe. The Deputy Mayor at the time said, don't jump the queue for funding, get in line for the budget. Get in line. And we have an events committee budget. We have it, it's there, there's money there. And I'm saying to you, what happens if another group of people come for the same amount of money? Are you going to jump the queue then? Just think about what you're doing.
Speaker 4, Councillor Hayward.
Thanks very much, Mr. Mayor. I actually think this is quite low risk, this particular event. The idea of the Events Committee, of course, was for us to be able to bring these types of events into Bunbury. So I think it's completely, exactly right that our people are doing exactly what we charged them to do, and that was to go out and find other particular events that could come in and add to the mix. The Cricket Boys Shootout is fantastic. It is an iconic event, and it's grown over many years, and it's grown out of our grassroots people. But there are other opportunities for us to explore and to stimulate, and this is exactly what this proposal is doing. It relies on a lot more money from the community than it does from us. So there's a real buy-in from the community, and I think that there are great benefits for our city in terms of having it more vibrant and alive and having these types of events come. And as Councillor McGuinness said, the quality of people potentially that this event can attract due to the proximity to those other major sporting events is really fantastic, and I think it will help put us on the map and and help us become more of a tourist destination, as well as stimulate our local economy. So I'd urge councillors to support it.
Further speaker against? Councillor McGuinness to close. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I didn't want to interrupt Councillor Steck while she was speaking, but point of order is that we're actually funding it. This is for 1 year, so we're not saying that it's guaranteed for the next 3 years. This is actually 1 year. And as Councillor Hayward said as well, this is relatively low risk. We're saying to the organisers that they need to go and find the bulk of the money. We're supporting an event where I don't think that they're also even claiming that it's iconic at this stage. We're saying this is going to be a great event for the community, a great event for tourism, and it may grow into an iconic event. So it's for 1 year. I think the business case is sound, and I would urge everyone to support it as it is.
Thank you. I'll put it all in favour. Please indicate. Those against? 1. That's carried. Thank you. 10.4.1. Someone prepared to move the exec recommendation? Thank you, Councillor Cook. Seconder, Councillor Hayward. Likely to be any discussion? I'll put it all in favour. Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. (10.4.2). Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Hayward. Seconder, Councillor Cook. Likely to be any debate? I'll put it all in favour. Those against? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Yvonne Scott, welcome to you. Yvonne, you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, councillors, staff, and thank you for your time this evening. My name is Yvonne Scott. I'm a direct descendant of John Hill Scott, the primary school settler of Anfield Gate. I would like to speak for agenda item 10 to 4.3 Scott Family Memorial. The descendants of Public's first settlers, 1838, John Hill Scott and Daniel McGregor, Hill Scott's firstborn son, would like to take this opportunity to thank Primary City Council, Councillor Ray Cook and Strategic Planning Officer Lacey Brown for working together with the direct descendants and the larger family descendant group on the relocation and restoration of the Scott McGregor Memorial. The Scott Memorial was erected in 1961 following the interest of the local historical society and following the finance of the project through family and the public. The memorial was unveiled at 2:30 on June 5th, 1961 in what was then called Soldiers Memorial Park. The memorial honours a valuable part of Bunbury's European settlement history and gives local visitors and tourists to Bunbury a valuable understanding of the heritage of the area. Descendants present at the unveiling of the memorial in 1961 still reside in the local community and hold original newspaper clippings from the events of the city. Many family members and descendants visit the memorial regularly and have kept an eye on the memorial over the years. During their visits with each new generation that arrives, the history of our ancestry is passed on. 18 months ago it was noted the memorial was in desperate need of restoration. We, the descendants, gathered quotes and commenced gathering funding for the memorial's restoration. It was at this time the descendant group was approached by the council as a result of the ANZAC organisation requesting to have the memorial moved from ANZAC Park. To date, the descendant group are in support of the memorial relocation and its restoration. We feel the new location in Centenary Gardens is appropriate and we greatly appreciate the opportunity to add information to the memorial regarding the original descendant site at Ela, now the busy location of Ela roundabout in Bunbury. We ask for your support in moving forward with the relocation and restoration of the Scott McGregor Memorial, and we look forward to working with all involved parties in the history of Bunbury. The respect and value it so strongly deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Councillor Cook, I'd imagine you'd like to move this. Is there a seconder? Councillor Kelly. Do you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cook?
Just perhaps to reinforce that this is a win-win situation. The family have asked for help in this particular move, and of course the RSL and the Heritage Council of WA, I believe, would like to see it move. So it's a bit of a win-win, and I appreciate the support of councillors in voting for it. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Kelly, did you wish to speak?
Well, just from the perspective of the Heritage Advisory Committee, Mr Mayor, what Councillor Cook has said is very true. The staff and the Heritage Council work closely with the Scott family, and I think that that's an example of how well we can do. Sets a benchmark, Mr Mayor. So I urge everybody to support this. Thank you.
I'll put it all in favour. Those against, that's carried unanimously. Well done. Councillor Steck. Someone prepared to move the executive recommendation on 10.4.4. Councillor Kelly, seconder. Councillor Hayward. Is there likely to be any debate? I'll put it all in favour. Those against? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Thanks, Councillor Cook. Ten 4.6, someone prepared to move. Thank you. Councillor McCleary, seconder. Councillor Kelly. Happy to move on this one. I'll put it all in favour. Against, that's carried unanimously. Thank you. And 10.5.1, we need a absolute majority on this one. Someone prepared to move that. Councillor McCleary, seconder. Councillor Giles, all in favour. Those, Well, you already had a go. Those against? One, that's carried. Okay, thank you very much. Item 14, Council, can I have someone move that under that section of the standing orders we deal with this matter tonight? Thank you, Councillor Stipp.
What's important that it needs to be done tonight, because usually we have urgent items that need to be done for a particular reason, and I kind of...
Withdraw what? Yeah, Mr. CEO, can you explain why this is a matter of urgent business?
It's ready, Mr Mayor. The report that comes through on the process we've got means that it didn't get included on the briefing agenda. The request has gone through to process the application. In order for me to commence the process, I need a decision from Council and a recommendation going forward. So regardless which way it came up, it would always come up as a matter of urgent business. It'll never be on the draft agenda. So
I think we're asking the question, so why then couldn't it be waited to the next round? It's not that urgent, it needs to be done tonight.
The CEO has explained his position. I'll now ask for someone to move the recommendation. Councillor Jones, is there a seconder? Councillor Miguel. Councillor Jones, do you wish to speak on this one? Actually, there's no debate on this.
Don't we have to vote whether we are going to accept it as a late item, actually?
Yeah, we do vote, Councillor Steele. We don't debate it, is what I said. I'll put it all in favour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's carried on my casting vote. Councillor Steele, let's just move on and be very professional here. Ladies and gentlemen, Can I have, sorry, before you leave, can someone move that we deal with these matters behind closed doors? Thank you, Councillor Cook. Councillor McGuinness, all in favour? Those against? It's carried. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. We'll deal with some confidential items and resume at the end of that